Wisp never used Greasy Cake.
Well then, how do I start it up? You seem certain that it was the right piece of equipment for the task at hand. Didn't you at least test it after installation? The Furbolg frowned and then stomped over to the greasy-caked oven. He stared at its control panel. He practically went cross-eyed when studying the numerous dials and blinking lights. He pressed a random button, and an alarm sounded. Risp shrugged and walked away, the greasy-caked still squealing like a panicked banshee ghost.
Only lift heavy machines and place on tables, Sam Hammett. Sorry.
Sam grew annoyed with the squealing racket. He walked over and managed to shut off the oven's alarm after spotting the button labelled Reset. He could at least figure that much out without reading a manual. But apparently, not even that was easy enough for Risp. He ruled out the Furbolger as being the saboteur. Sam made a mental note. He would later report to the professor. Hopefully that bit of information might put him in a better mood. Blub, blub. Behind Sam, the anti-overwhelder solution began to bubble over the lip of the heated flask. The Grimlock dropping had completely dissolved. A bright yellow grit had settled on the bottom of the glass. The grit emitted a warm glow different from the dull pink particles that floated on top. The aqueous solution had separated a suspect component. It must have been added to the delivered MPS package, intentionally altering some of its contents. It would also explain why there had been a tear on one side of the cardboard box. Sam should now try the isolated yellow grit on another test subject. Maybe he could repeat the accident, the leprechaun experiment, changing an underworld creature into an overworlder. And if he did, that meant that whoever had tampered with the Grimlock dropping had done so outside of the professor's lab. Unfortunately, he was fresh out of dark leprechauns. The only other test subject was the caged imp, and Sam really disliked imps. Risp, I'm going to make another transmogrification potion. Can we get a third test subject? Anything else but the imp?
Only imp?
Sam shook his head no. Can we get another dark leprechaun? I don't like imps.
Imp armless.
Risp jerked the imp out of its cage and throttled its skinny neck. Ack, guk. The creature gagged.
See? Shake imp like ragdoll and it's easy to deal with.
Risp, look at the love sponge perched on your shoulder. Do you see what's happening? It doesn't like it. Each time Risp throttled the imp, he jerked the imp closer to the love sponge perched on his broad shoulders. The love sponge quivered in fear. Ack, guk. The imp continued to choke. Ack, guk. The love sponge responded, its eyes growing wide, very wide. Its handlebar moustache suddenly fell off, small black hairs littering the giant's shoulder. Then it began to hum. Hum. What in the blazes of the sixth fiery circle is going on with the love sponge? I don't think they like imps either. Put it back into the cage, Sam said. Risp ignored him. A wide grin spread across his face, the Furbolger taking pleasure in tormenting the poor creature. Ack, guk. Risp seemed to dislike imps even more than Sam. Ack, guk. But he couldn't help but feel a little sorry for it at that moment. Hum. The love sponge's humming grew louder. Its soft yellow sides bulged and bubbled. Its round eyes grew into the size of small boiled eggs. Sam was reminded of when the dark leprechaun began changing. Then the noise-making turned into a shriek. It was worse than when the greasy-caked oven's alarm had squealed. Sam panicked, realizing what was happening. Shriek! Risp, put the imp back into its cage. I think the love sponge is changing. Do it quick! Sam tried to shout above the escalating noise, but Risp still ignored Sam or he couldn't hear him. The Furbolger kept grinning and pumping his large arms back and forth. Ack, guk! The love sponge now gave out a wailing pitch. Shriek! Sam covered his ears. Look, Risp, on your shoulder. I think the love sponge is going to... Pop!